Thank you, Tomasz. First of all, it's really great pleasure to have the opportunity to present Arhi.pro company and the level of BIM application in Serbia. This event is really well organized, and we in our association BIM Serbia can learn really a lot from you. Thank you, Tomasz, for inviting us. The title of presentation is Development of Internal Standards for the Construction Automation, but it also could be the importance of BIM standardization. And I will talk also about some steps in implementation of BIM in 5D and 4D technology. My name is Vladimir Bojović. My position in company is head of architectural design group. I'm also the BIM manager of the company. I'm the member of several BIM organizations and sections such as Serbian Chamber of Engineers, Chamber of Industry, Association BIM Serbia, and committee member of BIM section in Institute of Standardization in Serbia. Few words about Arhi.pro only. We have almost 250 employees. We are design and build company, fully oriented on integrated design through BIM technology. Our main services are pre-concept design, design development in our design sector. We also have the construction sector. We are specialized for fit-out works, and we have also furniture manufacture. With almost 120 employees in design sectors, we have several disciplines: architectural discipline, interior design sector, landscape, graphical design, MEP sector. So we are oriented on integrated design in-house, and that's the strongest advantage on the market. Our BIM story started on 2016 when the first words of our standard was written. What you can see on the screen is the content of our BIM standard updated this year, and in our standard, we defined everything such as graphical documentation, numerical documentation, roles and responsibilities, naming conventions, BIM execution plan templates, checklists from BIM models. So all the elements such as view templates or door schemes, architectural physics are standardized, and there is no space for any kind of improvisation. But in one moment we recognize that we have some inconsistency in our documentation, such as we are talking about OMS documentation or building physics or BOQ. We notice that we have different codes for the same BIM elements or the same materials in OMS or building physics, and we concluded that we have to define one classification standard for us to have the unique documentation. We created our Arhi.pro classification standard in accordance with uniformat and master format classification system. And we defined the 7 levels of uniformat classification. It's really a complex standard. It's a huge book, and you will see why we do that. The first benefit of the classification standard were the architectural specifications, because now we have the uniformat code for some elements such as partition wall, and all the layers in that element are master format codes. And that uniformat code you can find also in our graphical documentation, in our BOQ, and those master format codes you will find in our cost items in the construction. You can find also in OMS if they are finishes. So we have a specification structure on way that we want. And then we, as contractors in our construction sector, recognize the opportunity to implement that classification system in 4D and 5D technology. This classification system allows us to define our Arhi.pro cost base. This is the Excel table. all elements are uniform coded, and for each element we have defined several cost items for that element. In some cases, these cost items are construction steps of that element, but in some cases they are the layers of the element. For example, if we are talking about beam, we have cost items, formwork, concreting, reinforcement, removing formwork. But when we have some floor, we have maybe cost items are cement screed or glue or tile and whatever. We define the unit for those cost items, the formulas, how to calculate them from our BIM model, and what is very important, it's element query for that element. Element query means that help us how to find that element and how to assign that element in our BIM model. And as you can see, we have really simple element queries. Our element queries are that equal code, that equal code. And that's why we developed such complex 7 levels uniform classification, because we wanted to cover all variations in our model. It took very easily assign those elements and connect with those cost items. The biggest concern of our engineers in the construction sector was the form of BOQ. They said, we don't want BOQ structured by uniformat. We don't know what is that. And the solution was the BOQ structured by cost items, so structured by master format system. That is also the similar form that they use to work in Serbia. So we have concreting works, aluminum works, and earthworks, and they were satisfied on that way. The last step for the implementation of that and for our pilot project was the creating procedures for 4D and 5D analysis. We developed procedures for everything, for folder structure, where we want to keep that files, how we want to collaborate. Also, this is example of our procedure for creating look-ahead plans, because when we did and finished planning in our, we are using actually Bexel technology or Bexel Manager software. We create look-ahead plans in form of selection set for each week, and in this procedure, it's really clear how our BIM coordinators on the site could open that selection set, how they will uncheck the elements who are not constructed and to check some elements who are constructed, and to save that selection set on as actual for that week, so we can include that in the progress. Yes, that's our pilot project. It's in industrial hall in Serbia. Why we decided for industrial hall? Because it's not so complex building and there is no so many BIM elements, and we wanted to check our standard and our cost item on this project. So what is important to say, we wanted to go step by step. We didn't want to do everything on this project. We wanted to do planning, we want to include cost, but we don't want to include labor cost, material cost. We put only the total cost of each cost item of each unit. And the first benefit was the visualization of construction site was very useful, because we noticed some mistakes and in the construction phase, and so we can react on time. Some elements are wrong coded, and now we are tracking all the situations with our subcontractors. We are tracking all the quantities. We have a really clear picture of what they are doing, what price is that, and our site coordinators are also using this technology to check that. This hall is now in construction phase, and what is important to say that there were no BIM requirements by client on this project. We recognize the benefits for us as designers and as contractors to do this. And also, we will see now some form of Power BI reports. We can check all the quantities regarding subcontractors or work sets or families. We can check all the costs regarding those items, and also the progress. We can track the planned situation, the actual situation. We are not only tracking the time of constructed elements, we are tracking also the new prices, and we have a really clear picture about what we plan to do and what we are doing actually. But it's really important to say that for the next project we are planning to include labor cost, material cost, and procurement also, but it's very important to go step by step with BIM. Also, important thing that I just want to say that BIM is not the tool. BIM is how we are working something, is way of thinking, and I think that BIM is some kind of digital collaboration. But there is no BIM without standardization and defined protocols. I think that we don't need to wait for our authorities, or even more, we need to wait for our clients to define some BIM guidelines and BIM requirements. I think that the biggest design and construction companies have to be the main force of the BIM application and standardization. Then we have to share our knowledge and experience, and I think that's the only way. That's our story.